Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Mid-Atlantic CCDC competition. Oh.
Team actually come prepared with firearms to deal with the zombie apocalypse, and I'm joined now by Adam from what team?
West Virginia University.
West Virginia University. Very cool. So what prompted you guys to bring weapons?
Well, initially, I mean, we had no idea that there possibly could be zombies. It was more just kind of, we're kind of an IT crowd, so we need Nerf guns, and like, if the red team's going to be possibly coming in and trying to sabotage our things, do you want me to shoot them back? I'll shoot them back.
No, we're good.
If the red team's going to possibly come in and try to salvage our things, or mess it up, I guess, we were planning on shooting them with Nerf guns.
That would be good. That would be good. Now, we have a resident zombie expert, and Mr. Paul Asadorian. Paul, he's off camera right now, but Paul, what are some recommendations that you would give to people to handle the zombie apocalypse?
Well, guns are good, John, obviously. But when you're dealing with the zombie apocalypse, you definitely want to remember to aim for the head. It's extremely important to aim for the head. But now, true zombie aficionados will know that a gun isn't necessarily the best weapon because ammunition is limited, which is why my favorite weapon of choice for the zombie apocalypse, the crossbow.
Crossbow, Halliburton.
Larry, what is your favorite weapon of choice?
A shovel.
Shovel.
Shovel, very nice. Very nice.
Now, a lot of people, whenever they're discussing the zombie apocalypse associated with CCDC of 2012, will be wondering, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, why are they talking about zombies? Well, in the blue team's haste to try and deal with the hackers and all of the bad things that are happening on their systems, they completely forgot to look after their patients. And it turns out that a number of the patients are now infected as zombies, which might have been intentional. I think the red team may be behind it. So as we're giving you score updates, we're also going to be giving you updates as far as how many people are infected, how many people have mutated, and most importantly, what is the ratio between fast zombies and slow zombies? We're going to head it back up to Paul, who has Larry up to talk about the medicine dispensing machines, because God knows we need drugs if we have zombies. Paul, up to you.
Thanks, John. Larry, over to you to talk about the medical dispensaries and how those have been working out for the competition.
Great. So yeah, we've been having lots of fun with the badges and with the med dispensing stations. Sure, we've got some issues with them. Doesn't every vendor have issues with their products? So each of the both red and blue team have been given badges with barcodes on them. They open up their own med station filled with medication. Well, we can't give them real drugs, so we've given them the next best thing.
Save those for ourselves.
Yeah, we give them the next best thing, candy. Because, well, it's also a little pick-me-up. So we're some of those class 1 substances as well. So we're doing really the best we can with what they need. They have the ability to go in and dispense their own medication. They get their own candy, one at a time.
So now the dispensary, Larry, they're dispensing medications for a patient on behalf of a patient. Right?
Yeah, on behalf of the patient. But you know what? They really get to eat it themselves.
So they are the patient and the person.
Right.
Yes, I got you. And for the purposes of the competition.
Yeah, for the purposes of the competition. It's intended to be a pick-me-up for them.
Right.
But we're going with that it's a medication that they need to have 24-hour access to it to be able to serve a patient.
Now, is the candy scored in the game?
It is.
The medication?
The medication candy is not scored specifically. We know how much candy was in the box when we started.
Okay.
But what happens when some of it goes missing? If it's a class 1 controlled substance, there are definitely some people that want to know how much.
You have to be accountable for that.
Absolutely, they have to be accountable for it. And there's various ways in which they can be accountable for it or not.
Very nice, very nice. Now, I noticed a lock on one of the medical dispensaries.
Right.
What's up? Is that legal? Is that?
Yeah, no, it was all a valid discussion. We talked with the teams and everybody involved. The team in question was not particularly happy with the way we had provided security as a vendor. Oh, that's absolutely cool. If they have some additional suggestions on how they want to secure it, great. Their suggestion was, we want to put a lock on it. Great, put a lock on it. The only thing that we're going to require from a game perspective is that if you want to put additional security on the box, you need to be able to have everyone on your team still be able to open it. If they're acting as a nurse, a doctor, you name it, and they need to give drugs to a patient, they still need to be able to get into the box, whether it be through our security or the security that they've
Additional
provided.
security
Right.
measures,
So
right.
if we need to have a challenge to go to them and say, great, you guys need to get into the box. What's the combination to the padlock? They need to be able to provide that readily so that they can go in the box. Any member of the team, they still have to share that. It's still a shared credential.
So you guys have these wonderful lab coats. I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about those.
Thank goodness for the internet. And we talked about a lot of the things, and we made allusions to, hey, we've got all this code on the internet, all this documentation. We never really said where. We're very cagey about it. The same sort of things we see when stuff gets put on your network and you have to call a vendor and you get first level support, and it's, well, did you check our self-service website? No, where is that? Oh, we'll get back to you on that. So the website's available. The only time the website has ever been published anywhere is on our website.
It's on your coat.
Yep.
Very nice.
So we did give some.
So has any of the teams figured it out yet?
A little bit, yeah. They asked for some stuff last night. Some of the teams asked for the presentation that Darren and I had given Wednesday as part of the speaker symposium, which talked a little bit about the badges. Some of them weren't able to make it, and they wanted to know where the presentation was. We said, yeah, it's on the internet. Go find it. The clue we gave them was the tagline for the company, which was the only thing we like more than dispensing pills is taking them.
Very nice. Speaks to how well the company will be run.
Right, exactly. And so the title that is on the title of the webpage, and we figured they'd just go and Google it. Well, turns out Google never indexed the site.
Oops.
So we ended up giving them another clue, but the clue was public. Both red and blue teams now have the same clue, and they now all have access to the same documentation.
Very nice.
As long as they can take that clue and turn it into a website.
That's right.
So.
Well, so we'll keep tabs on that during the competition.
Yep, things are going well.
Larry, thank you very much for the
Thanks.
update. I think now we're going to go over to Charlie in the red team area where he'll be interviewing a very special guest.
Hi, welcome again down here to the red team area. I have with me Georgia, and we'd like to talk a brief moment about the concept of physical security.
Well, first of all, they just left the trophy sitting there out front with no one guarding it. So I figured, since I used to be a blue team member and totally should have won, I would just take it and make it my own. So I just walked off with the trophy, and no one seems to have noticed. And on top of that, if you were really special and worked on the infrastructure for the medical stuff, you got these really cool badges. And someone named Rasmus left his lying around, and so now I'm wearing it. So you should really watch out for your physical security, because we can get you there too.
So that's just a little point we were trying to make down here, is a lot of times people overlook the fact that sometimes physical access to your systems is something that a red teamer may be able to get. And what can you do once you have physical access, Georgia?
Well, at that point, it's pretty much game over. I mean, I can unplug your computer, I can re-image your computer. Anything is pretty much the sky's the limit at that point. If I get physical access to your environment, then it's over. None of your security firewalls or anything are going to do you any good then. I will end up taking home your trophy.
So for our unofficial champion of the 2012 CCDC, Georgia Weidman and Charlie Frick, we'd like to say, secure your physical perimeter. It's always important. And with that, we're going to go back up to Paul and John for an interview. Guys?
Thanks, Charlie. So we're here with our next special guest. Let me make sure I get his name correct. Gregory Platt from the U.S. Army.
Greg.
Welcome, Gregory.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
So I wanted to ask you about the organization that you work for and which branch of the military service is that?
Sure. I represent the Intelligence Security Command's 780th MI Battalion, or brigade actually. We are the only cyber warfare element in the Army. And so it's a brand new organization. We just were activated on the 1st of October. So we're in the midst of growing our procedures for how to operationalize the cyber domain, but having great success doing so. And that's the reason why we're here, is to help us find the great talent to come in and help us defend the infrastructure.
Very nice. So what's the mission of your team?
The mission is actually multifold. We conduct signal intelligence, we conduct active defensive operations, as well as when deemed appropriate by the National Command Authority, we conduct offensive cyber operations to defend the nation's interests.
So, go ahead, John.
I was just going to say, do you think it's interesting, because 24 months ago, if you talked about offensive cyber operations or even active defenses, I would say literally about 2 years ago, no one wanted to talk about it. The United States government didn't even want to admit it. You know, we didn't play that way. And now all of a sudden the tone seems to have changed. It now seems to be that people realize that those types of things are important. What do you think is driving that change in the United States government, more importantly in the military?
Well, I think it gets to national policy. You know, we've always recognized that as part of conducting military operations, you need offensive, defensive mission capabilities. So we've operationalized the cyberspace domain to treat it the same as air, land, sea, and space. And so for you to be able to fight and win against an adversary, you need to be able to conduct defensive operations and offensive operations to maintain your freedom of maneuver in that battle domain.
So, no, you said you were looking for people to recruit to actually come work as part of your team. How does someone get involved with that if they're interested?
Well, we have several mechanisms for in this audience in particular, the college graduate. We have a website called cyberspaceskills.com where our recruiters are actively announcing the job positions that we have for hire, as well as they can upload resumes for kids that are interested in joining us, and then we'll get back in touch with them. We also offer up an internship program, which we're kicking off not the 2013 summer session. So for anyone that's interested in that, they can also go to the cyberspaceskills.com site to make that happen.
So this is going to be like space camp, but for geeky hacker kids?
No, not really.
Because that was one of my favorite movies in the 80s. I thought that was great, the robot and everything.
Yeah.
It's not going to be like that, though?
No, we actually will integrate them right into our mission. Of course, you know, there's some background work that has to happen before they can come work for us. We need to get clearances and accesses to the mission areas. But then we're going to make them right part of the team so that they'll learn the skills that our workforce is doing, as well as help us to protect our infrastructures that the Army is trying to protect.
Sounds great. Gregory, thank you very much.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks. Take care.
I think now we're going to go to Charlie in the blue team area.
Thank you, Paul. Hi, I'm here with Bob. He is one of the co-captains of the Millersville team. Bob, thank you for coming down here.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
So, Bob, I was wondering, now we're about halfway through the first day. Was this what you were expecting? Was it a lot worse, a lot better?
It's a lot crazier. You know, we had a game plan coming into this, and then as soon as the bell rang, our game plan kind of flew out the door. And, you know, we had kind of known that, but to know it and then to watch it happen is a totally different thing.
So if you were to take a guess, how many minutes, or was it in seconds, that you had to throw away your plan?
Well, I wouldn't say we threw it away, but we definitely had to make some huge modifications to it within minutes, definitely.
So what was the first really big surprise that hit you?
How quickly the red saw was into our machines, I would say.
Out of curiosity, how many machines do you think anybody's in right now, or do you think you have control of everything?
I believe we got back control of all of our machines.
Okay. Now, another thing I was really curious about is, as I've been watching different teams, the business injects are a really unique element of this competition. How have those been hitting you guys? Have you been responding to them?
They are definitely difficult. Not all of them have been absolutely easy to do, just from knowledge that we've already had. We had to do a little bit of research to get them, but we are getting most of them too.
So now are you feeling comfortable with how things are going, or are you still a little stressed?
The stress level's definitely there, but I think the immediate stress from the beginning has kind of tapered off, and we're getting into a groove.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Bob. I hope that you have fun for the rest of the competition and it doesn't get too bad.
All right, thank you.
All right, and for that, back to you guys. Hi, Paul.
Yes, hi. How's everyone going?
Sorry, we're hypnotized by the saxophone gyrations of Mubix
Yes.
from the red team. Actually, could we throw it to the red team and see if we could get Rob to dance for us?
Yes, we
Hold on.
definitely want Rob to dance to the
Hey,
wonderful music
Rob?
that was there. Do we
Rob, could you demonstrate the dance? For
demonstrate the
saxophone
dance
song?
for the song, please. Dance for us. Hold on. Okay, we're on you now, Rob.
There you go. It's all you. You got attention, and now it's time to swing those hips, buddy.
Swing 'em. Swing 'em. Aww.
Apparently, he's not amicable.
We'll check back in the red team area and see if we can get someone to dance.
I'll go down and do it here in a bit.
There you go. Hey, thank you very
Because
much.
I have no shame.
So I think we're going to cut to a demonstration now. And this is very representative, I think, of what the attackers have been doing.
On this
And
system right
yes,
here.
and everyone can see my screen.
right.
It's wonderful. So one of the first fundamental things you would do, when the red team got here this morning, I tried to get in their heads and put myself in their shoes. And I said, well, first you need to know where their systems are. as I said before, what operating system they're running, what services and ports the systems are running. And my favorite tool for doing that very quickly is my first step, is to run a tool called Nmap. And you can see here I have this Nmap command already set up. And it's going to do exactly what I just described. So this -O flag here tells you to OS fingerprint the remote system so you know which operating system is running.
Paul, exactly how does tools like Nmap identify the operating system?
Sure. Nmap, well, there's a couple of different flags in here. So the -O flag is TCP/IP fingerprinting. So it sends packets to a remote host. It looks at the responses. Each operating system gives a different response based on the stimulus.
So things like window size, time to live value would be different across
all those
operating
fields
systems.
inside of the IP and TCP packets. Wow, that's some really geeky stuff right there. They will.
It's hot.
Yeah, they're different per operating system, and how they respond is different. So the next flag that I have here is this -S, lowercase s, capital V. That tells Nmap to not only determine which ports are open, but which services are listening. Is there a web server listening on port 80? Is there a telnet server listening on port 23? Or is port 63,006, is that listening on something that maybe that's an FTP server? So Nmap will determine which services are listening as well. So then if we flip back, we want to specify all ports, 65,535 ports. That tells every port on the system, and I'm specifically mentioning that I want it to perform all ports. Now, the next option here is -lowercase s, capital C. That tells Nmap to run scripts. And you were mentioning before how Nmap does OS fingerprinting. A lot of your OS fingerprinting mapping can come from running these scripts. So what happens is it will log on, it will identify a web server. It will read some different files, send some different things to the web server to collect more information, which may reveal which operating system is being run on the host. It may hit the SSH server, run some different things, and say, oh, this is a Debian Linux host. So we can actually see some of those results that I've run against the target on my host.
Are those scripts running directly out of Nmap, or is there another scripting language that is utilized for triggering those scripts?
Yeah, it's a separate scripting language called the Nmap scripting engine, and it's written in Lua, and it hooks right into Nmap. So based on everything that Nmap can find, you can execute custom scripts to do whatever you like, and they've increased the size and number of their scripts and functionality probably tenfold in the past 3 years. They run extremely fast, they're extremely targeted, extremely focused, and they do a great job. So here I've got the results up, and you can see I've identified all these open ports. I've identified it's running an FTP server, and my OpenSSH banner has come back and said, hey, this is a Debian and Ubuntu system running SSH. It's also running Apache, and it goes into my robots.txt. So my robots.txt is a file which can allow or disallow certain hosts or bots from getting at your website. So, you would disallow everyone from going to a specific thing. You would, disallow a search engine from finding specific portions of your site using the syntax in robots.txt.
Now, if you're using robots.txt to get things like Googlebot and MSNbot to not scan certain directories, can that be used against, sort of against you? If an attacker sees things like robots.txt?
Yeah, and it can work in a bunch of different ways. So I can put something in my robots.txt that I don't want people to go to. An attacker's going to see that and say, well, if they don't want me to go to it, there's something interesting here, I should go there. But you can kind of turn the tables, and this is a great tip for the blue team. Create a robots.txt, put an entry in there called /admin. Attackers are going to think that's interesting. Now you have the ability to lure an attacker to a portion of your site where you can do things like locate that person, collect information about their attack tools, maybe put some code there that crashes their attack tools. Now, I think Tim and I in every one of these engagements certainly get into an argument or a heated discussion, if you will, about what's allowed in the competition. What can the blue teams do? You and I certainly spoken at length about what blue teams and defenders can do and are allowed to do. I think we push the envelope. We're still working with Tim, I think, to be able to push the envelope here at the competition.
Yeah. We'll get
if it were me and I were on the blue team, I would be asking for permission to put code in there that maybe crashes an attack tool or hooks a person's Java browser with JavaScript to collect information about that person. So when I submit my incident response forms, I have a lot of information about them. So, I mean, this is just great stuff that were just based off these Nmap results that we are
And there's
working off
in
of.
particular, there's a lot of really good information on the MySQL info.
Yeah,
as well.
this comes from the scripts, so anything you see here underneath the port, which I'll highlight, will tell you all kinds of things about the MySQL server that's on there. It says what protocol is running, which version it is, some capabilities about it, and the salt used in what I would believe be the hash for encrypting the passwords inside of the database. So gives you some very useful information. Also, I mean, don't forget this SVN server. So this host that I've constructed has specific vulnerabilities, some of which go kind of, they get glossed over. But this one right here, this SVN server, if you pay attention to it closely enough in the exercise that I put together for my classes, it gives you the keys to the kingdom. And a lot of people miss that because they just see that it's an SVN
And
server.
as we progress through this isn't just one segment you're planning on doing. We're going to be kind of following this entire theme all the way across.
That's a great
so people
segue. This is the first in 3 segments that I'll give. This first one being identifying the host operating system services and some information about the host. The next step will be identifying vulnerabilities, because we have some stuff which we could use to maybe get access to the system. We haven't identified any specific vulnerabilities in that system. We'll use the tool called Nessus to do that, which the blue teams are getting help from some folks from Tenable Network Security, one of our sponsors here, that are helping the blue teams run Nessus. I'll show you an example of how to run Nessus in the next segment, and then after that we'll look at exploitation with Metasploit and some privilege escalation with another exploitation tool called Core Impact.
And then tomorrow I'll demonstrate a bunch of tools as well. We're going to be doing this now that we have it up and running. Paul and I are so excited. We'll be doing this over the next couple of days. We'll be demonstrating Metasploit, Meterpreter, pivoting, social engineering toolkit, Nessus integration. It's going to be a lot of cool stuff coming
So
up.
now you'll have to hear John and I drone on about a lot of different tools and techniques for hacking and attacking and even defending your systems.
If there was only a podcast that did that every week.
Yes. Excellent. So that concludes the demonstration. And that's all for now. And we'll be back at the top of the hour with the next update and more great content and information about red teams and blue teams and how they're doing.
And more zombie infections.
Thanks, everyone.